3 separate indictments involving Ghanaian nationals have been unsealed in the United States as part of a sweeping federal crackdown on transnational romance fraud schemes targeting elderly Americans. The U.S. Department of Justice announced the developments in recognition of World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, highlighting the efforts of law enforcement agencies to dismantle criminal networks that prey on vulnerable seniors. Among those charged is Ghanaian citizen Joseph Kwadwo Badu Boateng, also known as Darajo Remix, who was indicted in the District of Arizona on May 30, 2025. According to U.S. court documents, Boateng and his co-conspirators ran a romance and inheritance scam from 2013 to 2023. The scheme involved tricking elderly victims into believing that gold and jewels were being held for them, but could only be released after the payment of fictitious taxes and fees. Boateng was arrested in Ghana on May 28 pursuant to a U.S. extradition request and is awaiting transfer to the United States to face charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. The case is being investigated by the FBI. In a related case, Dwayne Asafo-Adjei, David Onyenibwanaku, Nancy Adam, Eric Adu, and Nader Wasif have been charged in the Northern District of Ohio with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. Unsealed on June 4, the superseding indictment alleges that from December 2017 through March 2024, the defendants participated in fraudulent schemes targeting elderly U.S. citizens through romantic deception and false business claims. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the accused laundered proceeds and shared funds with co-conspirators in Ghana and other locations. The defendants used various wire fraud and romance fraud schemes, often targeting elderly individuals, to obtain funds by means of false pretenses, the statement said. Another case, unsealed on May 13 in the same district, involves Otuo Amponsa, Anna Amponsa, Hannah Adam, Portia Joe, Abdul Asaka Asimiu, and again, Dwayne Asafo-Adjei. The group faces similar charges of wire fraud and money laundering conspiracies. Authorities allege that these individuals, too, preyed on elderly Americans through fake romantic engagements and promises of wealth, extracting large sums of money under fraudulent circumstances. All 3 cases were investigated by the FBI and form part of a broader Justice Department initiative to combat transnational fraud targeting older Americans. Prosecutors across the country are stepping up the fight against malicious schemes that target older Americans, said U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi. We are working with domestic law enforcement and foreign counterparts every day to hold criminals accountable and ensure that justice is done for our seniors both here at home and abroad. The department emphasized that romance fraud remains one of the most common schemes used by fraudsters globally, especially in targeting older, isolated individuals. These scams often begin on social media or dating platforms and evolve into sophisticated ploys to defraud victims of their life savings. The accused individuals remain innocent until proven guilty in court. However, U.S. authorities are pursuing extraditions and pledging continued international cooperation, especially with countries like Ghana, which have been identified as major nodes in these fraudulent networks. Victims of elder fraud in the U.S. are encouraged to report their cases to the National Elder Fraud Hotline at 1-833-FRAUD-11 or through the FBI's Internet Crime Complaints Center IC3. Social media, particularly X, has been awash with conversations about the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) following widespread media reports of the alleged arrests of some Ghanaians believed to be involved in a $100 million fraud scheme involving business, email compromise, BEC, and romance scams. The 4 suspects are reportedly facing extradition to the United States following their arrests in a joint operation between Interpol and the U.S. FBI on June 13, 2025. With one still at large, following this development, Ghanaian netizens have taken to social media platforms to share their perspectives. Netizens have expressed their satisfaction with the arrests, commending authorities for taking action against what they believe to be fraudsters who have been terrorizing their innocent victims. According to them, the arrests will help restore some level of order in the country, particularly in Accra, where these individuals reside and roam. Additionally, they believe it will reduce the peer pressure these individuals exert on young men. Also, netizens have urged the FBI authorities to apprehend all other individuals associated with the arrested suspects, including the women they engage with, citing that they may have also received a share of the money believed to be proceeds of crime. Others have observed that the FBL's crackdown on individuals suspected of engaging in cybercrime has led many influential figures in Accra to go into hiding, fearing arrest and extradition. On the other hand, some have attributed the recent arrests to information allegedly provided to U.S. authorities by Mona, also known as Haya for Real, following her release from a U.S. prison for her involvement in a romance scam. One user said, "Forget it. Everybody snitches when FBI get hold of them so they can reduce their sentencing."